This week in the Digital Marketing Scoop, we talk with Jennifer Lyons, Marketing Manager for Easy Living Interiors, all about influencer marketing. So Jennifer, thanks very much for joining us today.
No problem at all. Thanks so much for having me.
So you're the marketing manager with Easy Living. Do you want to tell us a bit about that role?
Yes. So I'm with Easy Living Interiors about 3 years now. I actually moved from Melbourne. So I've always been surrounded by interiors. I've kind of stayed within the interiors world, which I love. But yeah, we have a small team. Like, we have an amazing creative team in Easy Living. It's small, but it means like your hands are pretty much in every jar, which is great. It's like such a good experience. I love being able to like go up to the studio and help out with the shoots, or like just get to do like so much things. So it's great, yeah.
Brilliant. And how, from obviously all businesses have changed an awful lot in the past year. Has there been big changes at Easy Living? How have they found the last year?
Yeah, so you can take it that we're technically working as purely e-commerce store at the moment because all our shops are closed and everything like that. And we do have a skeleton staff working behind closed doors to take phone calls and orders over the phone and stuff like that. But right now we are just purely online, which to be honest is great because we can now like fully track everything. You know, with it all being online, you can track everything. Whereas, you know, with brick and mortar stores, it's very wishy-washy. You can say that, oh yeah, that campaign worked, but you can really only fully track it online, which is everyone loves that about marketing.
Oh, I know, absolutely.
It's our biggest selling point.
Yeah, go fully digital, absolutely. So with Easy Living,
my speakers died on you there.
Oh no, you're grand. So with Easy Living, you do a lot of work with influencers. I've seen recently. So what would be your strategy when approaching influencers to work with you?
So before I go into the strategy, we're in a pretty unique position. So basically, we have a direct competitor with a very similar name, but we are completely separate companies. So I can't really delve too much into our strategy, as I'm very aware that kind of like anything that we put out, there are eyes on us. But like, look, I have to take it as a compliment because when you're the best at what you do, sure, everyone wants to be like you.
Absolutely,
yeah. But yeah, influencers, like, they're hugely important. We've really been trying to work with them a lot more, especially over the past year. Yeah, they're, for any business, it's definitely such a great way to market.
In terms of working with influencers, then, do you have specific tools or that you're using to track the results of the campaign, or specific metrics you're looking for? Because I suppose the great thing we'd say with the ad platform, say for example, you know, Facebook ads, Google ads, all that, it is extraordinarily trackable and measurable. Whereas with an influencer campaign, even with e-commerce, it can be less measurable because you may not expect as much in terms of direct sales. You're building your audience, you're building your brand with their audience. So what kind of metrics and what kind of tracking tools do you use to kind of measure the results of your campaigns?
Our main ones that we stick with, now this is not an order, but it would be followers, site visits, conversions, engagement. Now the importance depends completely on what campaign you're running. So say, for example, if it's a product collaboration, then conversions and site visits are going to be their number one. So yeah, it just kind of depends then, but they're the four main ones that we would look at.
Yeah, and do you find it's important to have a big following as a big brand in Ireland?
Yes, hugely. It's so important to have a big following, like for generating leads, increasing site traffic, or even just to understand your customer base more. You get to see what they engage with, what they like to see. So yeah, it's definitely very important. And you also want to be the market leader in your industry. So having the biggest following within your market is hugely important because everyone's going to find you first and trust you more, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And what do you think will be like, what do they engage with most? Do you think it's lives, IGTVs, reels, photographs, photo shoots?
Yeah, lifestyle images are are just a big one.
Yeah.
Before I actually started, this is how I can kind of see like the change and how it's improved. But before I started with Easy Living, so they were just working with supplier images. So we didn't have like our own photo studio or anything like that. So we now have built like an amazing photo studio, and we now take amazing lifestyle images, like credit to the creative team. It's amazing. But like seeing how much that has improved and like the growth from just having our own images is like amazing. So lifestyle images are huge. So like that's like a small thing that we've changed like in the last few years, but it has like hugely improved. One thing actually, this or that, people love that game on Instagram.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Things. Yeah. So I find like kind of gamification type of content, like people love to engage with that, you know.
Absolutely, yeah.
Very good. And in terms of the influencers you work with, then, are you, in terms of when you go looking for them, are you happy to work with kind of micro influencers? Are you working with a lot of micro influencers, or is it really focusing on more some of the bigger ones?
No, we don't put all our focus into big ones. Like for me, I think this year is going to be huge for nano influencers. So you're talking anyone between 1,000 to 10,000 followers. Like they're small, but they're incredibly mighty. Like they're perfect businesses with the smaller marketing budget as well. But their audience trusts them a lot more. Like they're able to reply to DMs, questions a lot quicker than someone with a larger influence. So they can be very like beneficial to like a business, but they also have a way higher engagement rate than someone with say 100, 200,000 plus followers. So it could mean the difference of say someone with 3,000 followers having a 10% engagement rate versus someone with 100, 200,000 with only like 1.2% or something like that. So you know, they're very relevant and valuable to your brand, because people just, it's such a shift at the moment to people with a smaller following. People just, I think their audience just trust them a lot more.
Definitely. And as you say, I think there is a big shift towards that. And it's interesting to see. And I think the smaller influencers as well, they will often, not to be painting a brush or whatever, but they'll put a lot more work into things sometimes as well.
Yeah, they do. They give it extra effort. Yeah.
That's just it, because they're like trying to swim in a very large pool. You know, so what is it? I think there's just over 500,000 influencers on Instagram, like varying amounts of following. So, you know, you're competing against a huge pool, but I can definitely see the trend shifting more towards the smaller following. And you know, because people within Ireland with the 200,000 plus, like they are like an ads machine, you know, they're like, they're like watching the ads on telly. Do you know what I mean?
At times, And when you're collaborating with influencers, do you think it's best to do, say, a competition or like a giveaway, or do you just give the influencers a product or two to place in their home? What would you feel kind of works best?
We kind of switch it up. To be honest, it depends on what our main goal is. Like if you're looking for followers, competition 100%. That's the way to go. But there are pros and cons to that, because like everyone's aware there are serial competition entrants. So you're going to get like an influx, a couple of hundred, couple of thousand, but depending on how big you are at the moment, followers. But once you announce the winner, you always see like a drop off of those people. So it's like, you're getting the following, but are they valuable to your business? Do you know, are they going to purchase? They're literally just following for the competition. So you know what, it depends on what your main goal is really.
I always think in terms of a launch strategy, it's not the worst way to look, because if it's something new, you're trying to build a lot of buzz, you're just trying to get eyes on it. But you know, if you actually want to build a relationship then and build a core following who are going to engage with the content, I think your engagement rates in those type of people generally in the long term is probably not going to be as strong. But if the goal is just, okay, we need eyes in the brand, we need eyes in the product, then that can certainly be a strategy that you could use. All right.
Exactly. It will give you like quite a big boost which is great. But at the same time, I know they say like all PR is good PR. But I was like, where am I about to go with this point? I was like, do you know, because like I would enter competitions and stuff like that, but then like when you're seeing like so many, like there's like, I'm not going to name names, but there's certain companies and they would like put out obviously a campaign of competitions with a certain number of influencers and they're all launched on like the same week or something like that. And I'm like, you'd be sick to death of seeing that competition. But
Yeah.
this is where I'm going with all PR is like good PR, because it's brand awareness. So like I know that company, but like
Yeah.
I'd be giving out about it, but yes, I'm after going on their website to check them out. Like, do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's all there's pros and pros. That's what I'm after.
Absolutely, yeah.
I like it. There's pros and pros.
Yeah.
And when you're looking at influencers, like do you want people who have a nice house? Like does that matter to you, or is that, because some people wouldn't show off their house too much, so especially with the nano influencers, they mightn't have their own house yet, they might still be at home depending on their age. So what's your kind of take on that?
Well, like to be honest, one of the biggest mistakes that I see with brands working with influencers is that they work with them purely based on their following. They see a big figure or a big following and then they want to work with them. But like their audience is not interested in that brand or product because that influencer has never talked about it or shared about that certain product or service or whatever. So you just have to be careful that you're working with an influencer who has an interest in your business or already posted talks about that. Say, for example, makeup brand, or say, for example, talk about makeup, then you want to be a beauty brand. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And do you find like how much of your website traffic would then come from social media, do you think?
At the moment, it is quite high. So I would say at least around 30%, if not a little bit more at the moment, which is it's pretty good.
That's fantastic.
That's very good, yeah.
Yeah. We're putting a lot of effort into social stuff at the moment, because like I said, everything's online. So yeah, kind of print media and stuff is unfortunately pretty much dead. So yeah, everything is going online.
And how, was there a big shift within the as a marketing manager? Was there a massive shift in your year end, like April, May last year? Did things just change fairly rapidly for you?
I don't even want to remember
yes.
that time. That was
touchy subject.
It's very touchy. Like I'm sure, like everyone, even like customers, sure, no one had a clue what was happening last year.
Yeah.
Like even the government didn't know, so like we weren't getting any information from anyone, and same with customers. So yeah, that was actually like a crazy time. But like come third lockdown now, customers know what's happening, we know what's happening, so it's fine. Do you know? It's not too bad. But yeah, March, all last year for at least until September was insane.
Brilliant.
So Jennifer, if there's some marketing managers out there or some people managing, Instagram, Facebook for maybe small, medium-sized businesses, and not necessarily in your industry, but any kind of advice for them in general, a few tips that you think would really help them in their work?
Okay,
not putting you on the spot now, right?
I told you, Mark goes off topic.
Yeah. Okay. What advice do I give? It's all going to be fine. No. I suppose
that's important. Make mistakes. That happens.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah, that's just it. I think the one thing for 2021 is humanize your brand and your business. And people want to be able to relate to you. So put a face to the brand, the business, and get your social exec come on speaking like front camera. It's just a lot more of building that trust, building a community with your customers so they just develop a relationship with you. It's kind of like we're friends, that kind of way. So I think, humanize the brand. It's gone away from the obviously keep like nice graphics and stuff like that, but it's gone away from just those like infographic type of content.
Build a relationship, like. Yeah.
Exactly.
definitely.
Yeah.
Do you think that's kind of hard to manage as your brand gets bigger and bigger? Is it kind of hard to be very personable to everyone?
It is, I suppose, a little bit. But at the moment, like we're getting in place like a really good social strategy at the moment. So you'll be seeing a lot more of me and my social team, our
Very good.
faces. And so I've forgotten your question.
No, you're good. Is it hard to be more personable when you're a bigger brand, but as you were saying, you're going to be coming on
Get the
more
whole
on your
team involved.
putting all of your
Yeah,
faces in front. Yeah.
That's just it. Yeah, I think it's just about our audience now kind of building a relationship with us, and not just seeing us as, because you can sometimes when you see a business, you can seem like really cold. You're like, there's no face to that. Like, do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think people just want a bit more friendly interaction.
And do you find it? No, sorry, Pamela, go ahead.
Oh, is it hard to decide who are the faces of the brand? Like, because you have obviously your CEOs and things, but then you have your marketing managers. Is it kind of, how do you have that discussion? Who's going to go in front of camera?
We kind of just work it off, just marketing and like social and stuff. So Claire is our new social media guru. So you'll see her, you might have seen her pop up last week. She did like our outlet store walkthrough. So it's usually between me and her, but we have some other plans. I can't really go into it.
To be continued. Watch their social.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks very much for joining us, Jennifer.
Oh, thanks so much. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of the Digital Marketing Scoop. If you haven't subscribed yet, please search the Digital Marketing Scoop at any of your favorite podcast platforms and subscribe. And if you'd like to follow us on LinkedIn or Instagram, just search for Click Media and Marketing. That's CLIQ Media and Marketing, and we'd love for you to follow us.